And you open it back up.
Don't let anybody in here. They let me in here.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. Debbie says hello. She had to do something and she's not having a We did not. We stayed in a hotel. We did about 120 minutes. Before, yeah, any positive. Connor, I saw Connor, I saw you. Doctor, I was going to take a break. So he'll be happy to know that
You'll know it. He won't follow. I meet with guys, you might even know it.
We'll take a survey. We'll have you leave tonight.
Well, I'm over there now. I'm over there a couple days. All right, yeah.
I know that you're real precise.
But I gotta talk to him. We'll see what happens.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We lost a really beautiful member of our parish yesterday, so keep him in your prayers. Our cantor, Michael Santiago, passed away suddenly yesterday. Yesterday morning was when they found him. Pray for the repose of his soul. I'm not sure how old he was, maybe in his 50s, but yeah, it was sad. And it's so nice of you to come here and join us for this awesome event this evening in our speaker series. And I know Deacon Bill's a classmate of Deacon Greg Fury over there, so they've been a deacon for many, many years. So, good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight for the third in our year-long faith enrichment presentations. For those of you visiting or watching online, my name is Father Dave Richards. I'm currently the priest administrator here at Our Lady of Pompeii Parish. Tonight we're pleased to welcome Deacon Bill Walkowiak, who will share insights and reflections he gleaned from his 35-day, 500-mile spiritual journey along the Camino de Santiago, the way of St. James the Apostle. Allow me to take a few minutes to share with you an abbreviated bio about Deacon Bill, who, by the way, again, as I mentioned, was a classmate at the seminary of our own Deacon Greg Fury. Deacon Bill was ordained in June 2002 and also received his master's in pastoral ministry from Christ the King Seminary. He retired from St. Joseph Collegiate Institute in 2016, where he served as director of campus ministry. He has participated in major pilgrimages, including Camino de Santiago, Jerusalem, and the Holy Land, Assisi, Medjugorje, Jordan, among others. Happily married to Audrey, his wife of 42 years. Deacon Bill's current assignments include St. Mary of the Lake Parish and the Roswell Cancer Institute. And it's also kind of neat to mention my mom, who's present in the back there. She and Deacon Bill and Audrey have known each other for about 40 or 50 years, so a long time. Please join me in welcoming Deacon Bill Walkowiak.
I gotta put this on.
Well, hello, everyone. You know, one thing that Father David mentioned, yes, I know your mother for 40 or 50 years, whatever it is, but I've known you for a pretty long time, too. I don't know how old you are, so I'm not going to go there.
47.
47? Okay, then I must have known you for 40 years, because you was just a top. In fact, I have a picture, it's either you or your brother standing down at the marina. Everybody knows where the marina is.
Oh, yeah,
He's got a French fry in his hand. And a seagull came and just was grabbing the French fry out of his hand as I took the picture. I mean, it happened too fast for me to see it, but there was the seagull. So nice job.
It was a dove.
It was more like a pigeon. But yes, so we go back a long way too. So hello everybody, it's so nice to meet you. Before we even begin, I'd just like to say that I've seen so many faces I haven't seen here for a while. It's wonderful to see you, and thank you for being here. I hope you'll get a sense, just a small sense, a taste of what the Camino can be like. I was talking to Kevin over here. He did it in September, 100 miles approximately, right? And he said it was a wonderful experience. I know he's going to have an understanding of what I'm talking about. I hope that you have a sense of it in some way, because it's been a life-changing experience for me. I went with a dear friend of mine. I went to introduce him now. Bud, you want to just raise your hand or stand up? No, sit down, Bud. This Bud Brockman, he went with me. Yes, give him a hand. Yes, absolutely. We're not going to confession. The lights are coming off because of the video presentation here. But I hope you get a sense of that. Again, this is the first time I'm doing this particular presentation. We don't have all the glitches out, I don't think, such as music over there instead of playing through the PowerPoint. But again, my hope is today that you walk away with maybe not so much more knowledge, but a sense of the Spirit, alive in you, opening to Christ's own presence in your life, because that's what I believe that Bud and I both discovered. And if you listen closely to the video, some I'm going to be talking through, some will be spoken parts in the video presentation itself. If you listen to those parts, you'll recognize it as it goes on, because this is sequential as it occurred, but there are nowhere near the number of slides and pictures I took on this. So it was very difficult trying to narrow it down in some sense and still give a feel of what it was like for everybody, all of you that are here today. But I hope you're going to experience that. But if you listen to some of those things, you'll begin to hear in my voice at least a sense of going just a little bit deeper, a little bit deeper. So that being said, I'd like to start as soon as we can. So I'd like to say a prayer with you, if you would. So please bow your heads and let's pray together. Heavenly Father, we just want to thank you for your presence, for your gift of life, calling each of us, Lord, into existence and calling us on that journey, that way which always leads us closer to you. Pray, Lord, that you would open our hearts and our minds and our spirits, that we may truly hear you speaking within us. Help us to discern your voice from all the other voices that are calling out to us. Help us to recognize your voice as that voice that leads us to peace, to calm, to silence, to love. Help us to be the men, the women that you've called and created us to be. Help us to be you, Christ-like to one another. We thank you for this and for all things. We give you thanks and praise. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Let's try that one more time. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. That's better. I just want to make sure you're all out there. Okay, very good. So, as you can see, Santiago, Camino de Santiago, May 11th, Bud and I started, and we went to June 18th. This isn't going to cover all of it. This is just going to cover our walking days on the Camino. We began, I think we began on the 11th, actually, that would be right, but we ended around the 14th in Santiago. And then we went a little bit further, which I'll explain to you a little bit later. This particular map just gives you an idea. The Pilgrim's Way really over there, this was Spain. So we started in France, in the Pyrenees mountain area. and we went across what would be considered more northern Spain. And we began this quest, this spiritual quest. You know, we met people on the Camino, and if you've done any research on the Camino, has anybody here made the Camino besides Kevin and Bud? Yes? Can I ask you when?
May of 2014.
May of 2014. And what route did you take?
I took the Portugal route.
Oh, we have to talk, because I'm hoping to do that one too, coming up soon. Right, Bud? He doesn't know about that yet, but he will. But, you know, people go on the Camino for many different reasons, and our reason was, you know, a spiritual quest. You know, for many, many years, too many to say, really, it's embarrassing. I've heard this voice within me say, you know, Bill, more quiet time. You need more quiet time. And you think you're getting quiet time, but it's sporadic, right? Right, and then life catches up to you, and you find yourself so busy doing things, and sometimes the days are long, but the years go by so quickly. But this was a spiritual quest for me and for Bud. I was hoping to go. I was originally going to go last September, not this past, but the year before. And in training, I developed plantar fasciitis, if anybody knows what that is. And I was told I really can't do any serious walking for 7 months, so I had to scrub it. And then we trained, and in the meantime, Bud, God bless him, was able to go, and he surprised me one day, basically saying, "Oh, I'm going with you." Wow, really? So that was pretty wonderful. So we began our spiritual quest, and we had to make our way to St. Jean Pied de Port, which is across the Pyrenees in France, and this was our entrance to it, and this is where it all starts. It's official, Budmeister.
Saturday morning, about 10, quarter to 7, we're on our way.
We forgot. I'm Bill.
And I'm Bud.
And together we're going on the Camino.
Okay, off we go.
And so we did, and our journey began. And this was right outside, maybe 50 yards from that gate area. And when we made that little turn, little did we know, well, we knew, we watched videos and things like that, but we didn't meaning experience, that it started going uphill right there, and it didn't end for 5 hours or 4 hours. And it's a hike, but it's a wonderful one.
Been walking out for about an hour. It's a steady, light, misty drizzle. And we decided to take a rest hill because it's basically been uphill all the way so far, and it will continue to be uphill for the next probably 3 or 4 hours.
And it was. We had trained in Chestnut Ridge. You know, the Mother Hill, does anybody know that? Okay, and we go up and down, and we thought, man, we're getting in great shape. But I can't remember if it was you or me, but I think we said this was 100 times worse than walking the Mother over and over. But we loved it. Just some of the scenes, this is all the first day yet. So it was misty, it was cold and somewhat damp, but the sun would come out now and then. And we were certainly ready for it. Okay, there we go. Just traveling along the route. Beautiful. Yeah, get the sense. I see a lot today, but after we came up, and you can see it, pilgrims behind us that are starting the first day. We're sure we'll lose a lot of those, or they'll lose us. Anyway, this is Bill saying adios. I didn't plan those. I left it on. I didn't plan that huffing and puffing. We did that, like I said, for quite some time, actually. Well, this is supposed to be the level part, but now I'm trying to figure out when the level begins. We just seem to keep going uphill. We've had some patches, though. So I thought I'd show my feet. Here's my back of my stuff. We've hit just about all the weather you can imagine here already. There's Budmeister trucking on up. What a trooper he is. Hey, and he was a trooper. But again, this is all still that first day. It's cleared up a little bit. Actually warmed up the things. So I thought I'd show you a little bit of what we're doing. And here comes Budmeister. There he is. Kind of hard to see where. Oh, there's one of those big birds on. He was tired here, believe me. They said they had got an 8-foot wingspan. Got anything to say? Be nice now. Remember, you're on video.
Nothing I can think of right now.
That interpreted means, I love you, Kathy. Kathy is his wife. She's here tonight, too. If you knew Bud better, you'd realize that he was really tired here because he's never lost for words. So it was fine. We finally came, over the mountains and, descending the Pyrenees. And for those that have walked it before or have ever done any serious walking, I think you'll find and you'll be able to verify that going down is much harder than going up. Not so much here. You're not sucking the air like I was and Bud was throughout. But the knees took a beating. And Bud's knees took a beating. And the one thing we also did is the first day when we received our little passport, you have to have stamped, they told us that there's a particular route that you want to avoid when we're heading downhill. Great, no problem, we'll do that. Well, guess what? We missed it. And I think that's it over here, right? I think that's the one going off to the right. Of course, we didn't. We went to the left or straight, and it was very, very rough. And Bud's knees were in very difficult shape, but we continued. I just have to tell you this one thing. There were maybe 2 people passed us during that whole time, wouldn't you say, going down? A couple?
That one boy from Germany.
Yeah, and we had one young boy from Germany, and Bud and I were walking. Sometimes we're walking through slop like this, remember, with the leaves and everything, and we're going, where is everybody? There's nobody around, and everything looked unkept, and just very, well, we took the wrong route. We didn't know it at the time. And this one young boy goes walking by us with a backpack that was almost the size of him. He was just walking by like this, and Bud and I are saying, okay, show off, okay, right, young kid. Maybe 100 yards later, we look ahead, and there he is sitting, and he's, I forgot this. Well, I'll keep talking. He's sitting there, and he's leaning up against his backpack. I have to get into the mood. Deacon Greg said I could do this. Right, Greg?
I don't know if you can do it.
It's amazing. It's a lot heavier now than it was 5 months ago or so. And this goes with it, too. So I didn't have the glasses on, though, so. This, the best $25 investment we ever made, without question, right? These were worth hundreds of dollars. Unless you do it, you won't really understand what I'm talking about. This young German boy goes by us, and he's sitting on the ground, and we thought, what's he looking at something? What? Well, he fell. He fell, and he said he heard a snap, and we guessed that he broke his ankle. So from that point on, Bud was kind of leading the way because Bud's knees were in rough shape, and I got a hold of this young boy, and together, Bud marked the trail we went down. And it took us quite some time, so much time so that when we got to the albergue, which was Roncesvalles, which is huge, it was completely filled up. Completely filled up with people. We went to another place, it was filled up with people. We went to another place, they took us. We're expecting to spend 5 to 10 euros a night per room. A euro is about $1.15 at that time. The first night cost us 95 euros. We just spent our first week on the first day. So we got a little nervous there, but we made it. The good news is, through this, and this young boy, the whole thing about it is that, and he said, in broken English, he couldn't speak English very well. We couldn't speak any German. He said, my Camino is over. It's over. It ends. And it did for him. We said, oh man, we took a beating going that route, but if we hadn't made a terrible mistake, I don't know, this boy would have been abandoned there for quite some time. There was nobody taking the route. 2 people, and one or two only passed us afterwards. So God has a way of always being there for us, right? Even when we make those mistakes in life and go off in the wrong direction, He's still there to guide us and bring us back on the path. So this is the next day already. So we're just moving along here. We stopped, we have to have a little energy. You expend a lot of energy, you eat a lot. Okay, here's the other way, just turn it off. See, that's what tells us which way to go. It's a little path going down wherever it leads. And, see the mountains in the background, they're getting smaller. Thank you, Jesus. They were getting smaller, but we'd see them again. Just some more of that view. It's beautiful. If you love nature, it's so beautiful there. You couldn't help but stop and take pictures throughout. If you read this at all, it says it's a parish church of Santa Lucia, but at the very bottom it says, from the 12th and 13th century, please support our project. Volunteers are welcome. And you'll see that throughout. And we stayed in a number of places where volunteers, people like ourselves, would walk the Camino, would offer their services for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks out of the year to be there to welcome the pilgrims as they come, take care of them, give them their beds, whatever. Just some of us stopping. Next to me on the right is an Anglican priest that was walking with us, and then Bud, and the one man there, Toy. Just remember him. Take a good look at him because he's going to come up a little bit later. This is Bud again. Bud's in all the pictures. I'm hardly in any because that's the way it goes when you're taking pictures.
My pictures.
Yeah, I don't have his pictures, but I'm in his. This is, we're entering Pamplona. Anybody hear of that city? Well, we just walked through the gates of the old city of Pamplona. This is Pamplona. And Bud is up there somewhere, and I just had to let you get a view of this. This whole thing is, city is surrounded by a big wall, and it's like a big fort. It's like Jerusalem, but it's absolutely beautiful. So we're on our way to Jesus and Maria Albergue. The Jesus and Mary Albergue. And this is what it was. We didn't see any more like this, Bud, did we? Not quite like this. This was an old church that had been converted into an albergue. So as you can see, there's at least 2 stories. I think there were 3 floors, actually. That's Bud again. And each one of the rooms are separated, into cubicles of 6 bunk beds. But that's where we were that first time, and we thought we would sleep pretty good, and we did. Get a load of this. Another beautiful day. This is a steep trek right here. A little pooped out. And we go. Actually, town back in there. Highway in the distance, but needless to say, we're not on it. As we were going along here, we came upon windmills. And as we passed some of these windmills, as we passed these, I don't know, Bud and I never actually talked about it, but you could hear them whistle. So if any of you have been close enough, they do this, which I thought was pretty interesting because I'd never been that close. If any of you have ever seen the movie The Way, yes, anybody? You probably recognize this. Alto de Pardon, the Monuments of the Pilgrims. It was in that movie. We certainly did, we made it there, and we're happy about that. My selfie stick, the power wasn't working for the audio. I didn't know it at the time. It kind of looks like a Chinese fire drill right now. It's not even fast speed. That's just the way we are. But they were some friends from South Korea. Those 2 girls right up front, we met the very first day, and we continued to meet them. Well, there's the path we just came off of. Those windmills, we were up there somewhere. Just some landscape. There's a pilgrim here on the trail. And your name is, sir?
Esteban.
Esteban. And where are you from, Esteban?
Hamburg, New York.
Hamburg, New York. Humbug, yes. Good place to be. That's where we're headed, down that trail. And where it goes, well, we'll find out when we get there. Pretty interesting. This whole field of poppies, and that was the only one that was, it was spring. Remember, we're still in early or mid-May. Before we finished, we came across other poppy fields that were filled, and they were beautiful. And I think that's the way you and I can be at times, right? We're just not blooming yet. We're not ready. We don't open ourselves up to all the gifts that God has for us. But in time, it does. This is a quiet time on this one. I don't say too much because this is actually what happens a lot when you're walking alone. When you're alone, most of us aren't talking to ourselves. We are approximately 70 miles down, only 430 miles to go, and we're just getting warmed up. We saw those girls that was entering one of the villages that we were going through, and these girls had been on the first day with us when we were at the very top, looking over everything, and they were singing Laudate Domine, if anybody knows that. It was a beautiful song, and so Bud and I broke into a rendition of our own song, which was You Are My Sunshine. They were giving their praises for He who gave his life for us. So, the journey of the Camino continues one step at a time, just like the journey of life continues for us one step at a time. Highs, lows, valleys. That actually says paradise under construction, and you'll see a little bit more of it here. This is what you'd see spring up throughout the Camino, where you're walking in the middle of nowhere, and suddenly you come across a little place where people are making rest areas for people. And very often, when you would stop there, they would just have fruits and vegetables and water, drink, and they would just ask that you just leave a coin or something. That's all. It was there for the pilgrims. Because the Camino, the way you see that's an arrow there, that's one of the ways that the Camino is marked for us. Usually there are some signs or stone monuments that you will see, small little monuments. But you can never tell where or what you're going to lead and what you need to follow on your journey. Those are my poles there. I took a picture of my poles. But there was a church I went in, and what was interesting, right after this church I went in, Bud went ahead a little bit, and I came out, and there was all this noise going on, and I peeked into a big garage area, and all these people were there. And they were singing and carrying on, and they were giving drinks, and water, pop, stuff like that, fruits and vegetables. And it was wonderful, just for the townspeople doing it for the pilgrims. This is the way it is. This is the way it is, and this was our experience. So I stopped and I partook of that as much as I could. One of my favorite points in the whole thing is a free wine fountain over there. And needless to say, everybody that we saw that was around there at that time stopped at that time. You can get water, which is behind me, or you get the wine. We chose the wine. I love this particular picture, but there's others certainly, because that path to me is the journey. That's what I love most, was the quiet, the countryside, the alone time. Even when Bud and I were walking directly together, very often you would just walk quietly and by yourself and learn to listen. I guess that one speaks for itself. So we'll just keep going. Some of the countryside yet as we were leaping through there. On our left there, castle like at the top of the hill there. The journey continues. That was me. I just dropped my pole. Bud is speaking, but I doubt that you can hear him from here. He didn't know I stopped. He's still talking. I don't think he knows I've stopped. You do walk, right, Bud? You do walk along with if you're walking with somebody, and you might just hang back to take a picture, and the other person's walking, and you turn around and they're gone. So that's what happened in that particular case. It's just another place along the road. You can see people. You might not see people for quite some time. One day we saw 2 people the whole day on our journey, and then you come to a little place like this, and all of a sudden there's 10, 15, 20 people sitting, because if you can stop for a rest, you're going to take it. Second verse, Bud. Well, this is where we converge. This was just before Dancing with the Stars, or what American Idol? Which one was it? I don't know. And luck has a little move there, that's why I kept that in. But that woman was right there along the side of the road, nothing around, there she was. This is one of the brigades that we did stop. In fact, this is the day, Bud, we were doing so well earlier in the day that when we got to our next place where we thought we would stay, next city, I should say, or village, we felt so good, we decided we'd go to the next one, which was another 5 miles down the road. So we did, and we got there, and we stayed here. Right after we got there, about a half an hour later, it started pouring, so we really hit it lucky. It was just that night, and the next morning...
This morning, we're just leaving town. This is just a little vision. I don't know if you can hear the birds chirping. Looks like a cloudy day, but all should be well.
Just again, some more of the countryside, which is, I love being out in the country. I love looking at the nature, and things are so different. Even in our guidebook, I wasn't able to find this to see what this is exactly. Does anybody know what it is? Maybe you do, I don't. It kind of reminds me of some Buddhist temple of some sorts, or building it, but I think actually, I'm just taking a guess, but I think the stones that are put on top of each other are really petitions and such that are being raised up to God, but I'm not really sure, but it was interesting, so we had to take a picture of that. But I only took this picture because those flowers smelled beautiful. They were beautiful. And I asked Bud, who was wearing the same clothes after 3 days, to stand a little closer to those flowers, which he abided by, so I really appreciated that. He was all smiles, I was smiling from ear to ear. We got to take a little stop for a moment. It was raining at times, and we stopped for a little taste. But the mud in your eyes ended up everywhere else. So, yes, you had to walk on the side there, because if you walked in the middle, we'd probably still be there. This was an Ale Brigade that we stayed in on that particular day. Most of the Ale Brigades, all of them that we went into, had a separate place where you would keep your shoes and your poles. They didn't allow you to go into the sleeping quarters for them. And rightly so, I think. You see that floor there? That was a very, very old, I don't know how old, but ancient floor. And the reason that linoleum is there is you could not walk on that to save your life. It was so hard on the feet that they covered it there. But that has to be literally hundreds of years old. This particular place, we walked in and there was a great big burning fireside there. And it really did warm our hearts. And it was such a thrill to walk into that. The guy used to throw behind us in a bag, there was walnut shells that he would throw onto the fire, which added a nice touch to it. Bud and I are walking along. We've been already here 10 or 11 days, and look at that, we're still walking and still smiling, still talking to each other. Some of the snow-capped mountains, what I didn't say, and I wanted to wait till I got to this point, is that the day we left in St. Jean-Pied-de-Port in France, they told us the week before they temporarily shut down the entire passage because of snow and the danger that it created. If you saw the movie The Way, you know that that was part of the problem in the very, very beginning, what happened. This is the village of Colorado, as you see there. We stayed in the El Brigade, where that white frame building is. It was attached to the church. We stayed in there. Wonderful little place. Catching some rays that day. Santa Maria El Brigade. We decided to take a little rest. Some clothes behind us there that are drying. Don't be confused, that bra that's back there, it's not mine, really. I don't know where that came from, but that one wasn't mine. I started getting hit with a little something that at this time, I wasn't sure what it was, but two people there, Walter and Ruth, that took care of the El Brigade. They were from Switzerland, and they were actually hosting the El Brigade. They'd welcome you, whatever you need, everything. They were two of the volunteers. And she made a concoction. You know how sometimes you put Vicks in hot water, cover yourself? Well, she made it out of herbs. It was wonderful. So she said, would you like it? I said, I need it. So I did. Somehow the vino always seems to help you feel better. So it did. There's different ways that you're led throughout the Camino. This was one going through Colorado that had been placed into the sidewalks, the roadways, the passageways. Just some more of the countryside.
I think things are beginning to settle in, thinking about why one comes to the Camino. Everybody has their own story. I guess the last day or two has really been something that's coming more and more to my mind. First whole section, which we're about done with the first third, I can hardly believe it, another day or two. But that's really a physical challenge. They say that the next one coming up becomes more internalizing, so we shall see.
So when you walk along the road, we're coming up this road, surrounded by trees and woods, and there's that little bug parked there, little vehicle, and somebody threw up a card table and they, again, had fruits and vegetables and some water, pop, and needless to say, they had 2 guitars. We didn't take them with us, that's for sure. And so Bud, who was Mr. Tambourine Man himself, kept me in the music throughout. This is Vasek from Poland. I was talking to somebody over here. This is the guy that when I got the bad blister on my heel, said, "Oh, you should break that open." I said, "Well, I'm waiting. I'm not sure." He says, "Here," and he gave me a switchblade. And he was walking with his wife and gave me a switchblade. And I said, "Well, do you have a match or a lighter so I can burn the tip, right?" I mean, no. He said, "No, just do it. Just cut. So I cut, and the thing exploded on me. The next day, my foot was fine. I kid you not. It was like, and I never had trouble after that. Never had any trouble with blisters after that. Blood never had any.
So this is great. A very peaceful time, just reflecting. And it's taken 11 or 12 days, but I think the introspection is beginning to occur. This is a good thing. But anyway, this is Bill signing out with the banana in hand, thinking of you. God bless.
That's what I said about it. If you listen closely, there's more things you seem to be coming down. I seem to be being brought into a deeper level.
I hear the wind blowing. As I say, I'll give you this, but look at the way the wind blows through these grasses. I can't think the spirit blowing where it will, just blowing upon all creation, asking us to just recognize His presence among us.
I put this because really that when that was happening, and you can't get a full sense of it when you look all around you and you see that blowing. And some of us have seen something like this before. But it does bring you back to center, I think. Helps you to center things. And honestly, that thought, well, I said it, remind me of the Spirit blows where it will, right? Just flows through our lives. And how aware of the Spirit working within us are we when we're in the moment? When we're in the moment. So often we have to wait, step back, reflect, and recognize what was taking place. Here, thank goodness for this moment. I recognize that I was surrounded by God's grace and beauty. So you can see we go from one area, this is the same day, to this, hardly beautiful, but you see it down at the bottom where there's more fields and such. This woman was talking, so I don't know if she was speaking Swahili or what it was, but what is this? He has a big smile on his face. He's just smiling, he's shaking his head up and down, and she walks away, and he turns to me, he looks at me, he says, "What in God's name, Bill, what do you think she said?" And I said, "What? I think she was asking for your phone number." That smile never went away for the next 2 days, so it's great. But this is entering one of the little towns. I like this because we're built up on the side, and you're kind of walking through this little alleyway, so to speak. This gentleman from South Korea as well, we met on the very first day, and he kept saying I looked like some movie star. I only say that because he kept saying George Clooney. I said, "I'll take it," right? I think he meant, who's the guy? Billy Bob Thornton, please, no thank you. But he was everywhere, and every time he'd see us, he'd want a picture with us, so he did. Again, here, rooms of the convent of St. Anthony, 15th century. We can walk all over this country and we'll never see anything 15th century, at least not anything that we would consider anything outside of really Native American or before. So part of that same area. In a long shot, because this is a zoomed in photo, you get a better sense of this, but does this bring any thoughts to anybody, or does it say anything to anyone? It's not so much in this picture, but it's just, the cross is below it. For me, it was just, and when it's not, it reminds me of Christ on the cross. Anyway, that's just me. But you have to see it in the way the picture actually was. I think it highlights it much better. This is actually Divine Mercy Chapel.
In atonement for our sins and those of the whole world, have mercy on us and on the whole world. We weren't only stopping and having an occasional glass of wine. Bud and I either said a rosary every day together or apart, because we were apart much of the time too. Or we'd say the Divine Mercy Chapter together. Or we would sing together. We sang more songs than you can possibly imagine, but we loved it. But those moments of rosary or Divine Mercy Chaplet were very special for both of us. And we always remembered the intentions of all of our families and friends and all the people of our parish communities and anyone that has asked us to pray for them at all. We couldn't remember everybody. Oh, I know. What do you look at this? That's the town. Left. Started it this morning. Climbing up a 12% grade right now. And pretty steep, but it's a beautiful view. We're not even near the top. But I thought I'd show you the beauty of the surrounding here. Right at the top of the cliff here. Down there.
This was a very difficult climb. And those are full-grown trees down there, so this does not give the sense of the dimension and
my strength some of the others.
how it really
Long
goes.
way to go up here. Well, here we are. We just made it up to one side, 12% grade. We're just about to go down the other side, 18% grade. And here's one of the pilgrims that I've seen on the way. Sir, what do you have to say about today?
Where would you rather be than right here, right now? Buen Camino!
Buen Camino!
I'm going to leave it there for a second. Remember I showed when there were four of us sitting together and this one gentleman named Toy was sitting there? Well, Toy did the Camino last year, and he was doing great. And he said, I felt great, no problems, no blisters, nothing. And he came to this point, and walking down that steep, and sometimes people would traverse, so, they'd go down this way, a lot steeper than what it looks. He got shin splints so bad, he had to come to a halt and wait. He waited 4 days, his legs didn't get any better, he had to call off the Camino. That was the end of his Camino. So, Bud and I are very blessed because we met people whose Camino came to an end, right in the middle. We were blessed, we were fortunate in many ways. You can be in the best of shape and just twist an ankle on a stone somewhere and it can be over for you. So we made it, and we were very happy with that. Just Bud and myself again at that point. The poppy fields, see they're coming out already, much different. The girl on the right there next to me and Bud, her name was Mahada. She was from South Africa, right, who now lived in Switzerland. In a week or so after this picture, I got a text from her, and she said, Bill, Bud, sorry, my Camino's over. My knees gave out. I can't do it. I'll have to come back and continue another time. It's only 24 years old. We did okay, Bud. Just one of the rivers that we passed through there. Just another place in the town where we stayed and stopped to refresh a little bit. We went in many churches. This is the crypt of two of the first pilgrims that didn't quite make it all the way through. Thank God our names weren't on it. We appreciated that. Another one of the pilgrims there, just sitting and enjoying. I knew Bud was tired because we began having a conversation with that guy. I had to tear him away. Augustinian nuns, and they actually ran this albergue. And people would gather that were staying there, and they'd welcome them and sing for them, and it was just wonderful, wonderful place. Every albergue is different.
How has the Camino been for you?
Oh. It's been an experience of a lifetime, I can say. I was really excited to come on this. I thought I would do it in September, and that prevented that from me. Well, it was a blessing for me because my friend Bud was able to come, which wouldn't have been possible before. I can't imagine doing this Camino with anybody else, to be honest. We just had a wonderful time.
You're gonna make me cry, Bill.
Again. Kathy helps, please. No, it's been a wonderful experience. Be able to share this encounter with someone else is special, I think. Obviously, I've lost my voice here for about the last 4 or 5 days, right? We haven't been able to sing together for a while. We sang in every tunnel coming to this point. But things have happened, but they haven't slowed us down at all. People we meet have been incredible. I think that's the highlight about it. People being able to get along and be respectful to one another. It's just amazing. I remember one of the videos I watched beforehand, somebody had said that a nun had said, the Camino is life as God intended it to be. And I think that was meaning the relationships, the way that we share and encounter one another. And that's been our experience so far. Why we don't do this at home with one another? Well, I hope to be able to take that back with me and Bud too, I think. That we do share that, live in the moment, appreciate the moment, because we don't know how many of we have. And we've met some people here whose Camino has come to an end rather abruptly. And that's the end of this Camino journey, but the end of the journey of life can come very abruptly too. And this helps me to realize, to appreciate the moment, the people that I love and know in my life, and try to be present to them more. So I'm going to try to do that. I know that they'll hold me accountable to it if we don't. So,
if you're watching this, Audrey, try to forget everything.
Don't hold me to it too much, but it's been a joy. So that's all I have to say for now.
Hi, I'm Bill.
And I'm Bud.
And we're on the Camino. And we have lost our minds here.
Yes, we have. Were you again?
I had a good night's sleep.
I had a good night's sleep. First time in some time. In fact, I beat Bill up here. Wait a minute, that's not right. Two people that we ended up being quite close with, actually. His name is Robert and Cecilia. And I'm sorry here, I'm just trying to, always better with a little music going on in the background. Cecilia was from Argentina, and Robert was from the Netherlands, and he's traveling the whole world. He travels everywhere, and I asked him the question, when did you have time to work? And that, I didn't find out until later, that question I had for him, which was somewhat jest, he took very seriously. And he said to me later, he said, Bill, you said something that made me think. He said, I'm running all over searching, and that for which I'm searching has been right in front of me all this time. Wonderful people, and he is the one who will take a bath in a place that I'll show you a little later. You won't see him take a bath, you'll just see where he took a bath. This is one of our El Brigades. I just included this today.
Oh, here's a little bit of our El Brigade.
Give you a sense, they're all different.
And we just washed clothes over in the corner over there. Bud's hanging up some of them. And that's him over there waving in case you didn't recognize him. And I'm just going to turn in, and I haven't done this before, but I'm going to take you in through where we're standing in our El Brigade, kind of get an idea what, everyone's different, so none of them resemble each other, but here we go. So
go this way, and this way, we go up these stairs like this. How am I doing so far? Well, got you on video, you're good. Here's where our shoes and poles are. And hopefully everybody's dressed going through here, but these are some of the rooms. We're just passing through. And another room in ours happens to be right over here. And here we are, home again. Okay. Here's where I reside. Doesn't that just make you want to go? I mean, come on, ladies. Come on. Oh, my God, I love it. Everyone is different. Like we said, this one was totally different. Sometimes we stayed in one that was one room and some beds on the floor, and that's what you got. Everyone was different. It was great. There's another type of sign or whatever that you might see along the way. Little commercial pause here, folks. This is Bill on the Camino. That's Bud over there. And we have a new star of the show. Contestant here, Rachel, from, where are you from again, Rachel?
Washington, D.C.
Washington, D.C. And you used to live in where?
Santiago.
And you're now living where?
Bangkok.
What?
In
Camino. We met many people like this, you know. I mean, she lived in all those places, people that, they think nothing over in Europe so much, in Australia, New Zealand, to pack up, you know, close their jobs down, go and take off for a 6-month holiday or so. We met a number of people, they told us from different countries that they could leave their job for a year and come back to that job. It's just the way it was. Then you work 5 more years, and you can take another job, another year off. How would you like to do that? And they do it, and they do it freely. Live in the moment, and they're not tied into so much of what we are. This is Puente de Vigo, I believe, just entering it, and we're getting ready. You see there's a big, long bridge, and this bridge, which you'll see in just a moment, is one of the oldest bridges and most well-preserved in all of Spain. It was actually built over an old Roman bridge. It's in beautiful shape now, but when you cross that, you're in Hospital de Vigo.
But I show you how kind of cool that bridge itself is. I don't know if you can hear the music down there, but it looks like the town farther ahead, that main street may open more into the festival area too.
We didn't know that the festival was going to be going on here until we got there. We got here about a half an hour before the festival started, totally unaware, and this is what we saw. This is the only day I think we decided right then and there we're not going any farther. This lasted about an hour and a half. There's so much more too, but there's some things I think you're going to like.
Here we are, more festivities. How do you like this?
They also had jousting there, which real knights on horses, which is cool. And I looked up the information in 1474. There was a jousting tournament that took place, which brings it to this point that they do this now every year. Bud and I are going to quit our jobs and join the band. Oh, I forgot, we were retired. Oh, okay, that's great. I only took this because 2 years ago my wife fell off a camel in Israel, and I think that's the camel, and that's why it's covered up. It's trying to go incognito. There we go. That's Robert and Cecilia again, dressed for the festival with different medieval clothing. How could you not?
Okay, I think we found where we might be eating today. Are you putting me on or what? Oh, I'm so glad we stayed here today. We got the whole day to kick back and relax and join the festivities.
We did consume a few there.
Kenny wants to know what were those things?
Those were little pigs. Remember this little piggy went to the market? That's the market.
I was counting these last night because there's 5,280.
This was
How cool is this? Shepherd, his sheepdogs, a big one over there, Preston, and a whole herd of sheep.
That went a long way. That went a very long way. Just again, some more of the scenery as we went by, another little oasis that we stopped at to refresh ourselves. It was my feast. Some people, Rents, we met him. He was an interesting character. I actually stopped here. I was all alone at this point. My feet were burning up in the shoes. It was very hot that day. And he stuck them in that water. In the water, I should have had ice cubes floating on it because it was freezing, but it was well worth it. Well worth it.
Most high and glorious God, bring light to the darkness of my heart. Give me right faith, certain hope, and perfect charity. Lord, give me insight and wisdom, so I might always discern your holy and true will.
I was in the church alone at this time. A buddy had gone ahead somewhere, and I just stopped in the church. And these are the kind of opportunities you have along the way. We stopped, I think, in every church that was open. Maybe we missed a couple, but for 35 days. And very often we'd be the only ones in there, or only a couple of people. So to sit in there and be in these ancient churches and buildings, and to spend some time and to listen to the Lord. And the one thing I think I came away with more than anything, and it wasn't until much later that it really hit me, because I went to really listen to the what the Lord says for my life, and I came with the sense of thanksgiving. So much to be thankful for. Just to be there in this moment and experience all that we did is just incredible.
I hope it's picking up my voice, so you can hear what I'm talking about. But this has been truly amazing. I have so many experiences. You don't know how do you explain them? I don't know. How do you explain it to someone who hasn't experienced it themselves? I don't know. I know I'll make an effort to do that, but whether or not it's going to get across in the way that I would hope, I don't know. But I know God called me here. I truly believe it with all my heart.
That's what I'm trying to do here tonight. I don't know if I'm successful or not, but to try to share a bit of this experience. There's a lot of fun, there's a lot of laughter, but there's much depth to it. And for me, that's what the Camino is all about, and how to explain it to others. Kevin, you've had a taste. Sir, you've had a taste. You, at least I know, you know what I'm talking about.
Well, I just cleaned my camera lens off a little bit. Hope that's better. I don't know. I'll find out later when I go back and look at it all. But again, this is the path that we're following. One of the roads, one of the paths of the Camino, quite remote, beautiful, and just a joy to be on. Anyway, I think I'll close off for now. I've been doing enough talking.
Just a little lunch time. This is the two girls we met our very first day. This is Kim on the left and Jung. We came home in mid-June. I texted them, or they sent me something anyway. We got in touch. And in August, they were in Turkey. They were still on their journey. They grew up together. They've been going all over the place. A A couple weeks after that, she sent me a picture with the pyramids behind them. So when they take a journey, they really take it seriously. If you've seen the way, this is Cruz de Ferraz. This was pitch black, by the way. My camera shows better than what I actually saw. But if you saw the way again, you take stones from home, or maybe that you found along the way, with intentions of family or friends or burdens that you're carrying, and you leave it at this cross. And we both did that.
We walked.
This is that same moment, hours, or within the hour after.
Whatever that is again. But sunrise is coming up here. Look at that. So, how do you like that? Beautiful day. Brother sun, sister moon.
Just still shots of the same sunrise coming up. Talk about peace and serenity. You've got it. There's a place our friend Robert took a bath in the morning. It was freezing. We weren't there to see him, but yeah, he was an interesting character. This is some of the wildlife we saw on the way. We saw 3 rabbits, I think, many slugs, and a little something else. That was it. No, nothing else wild. Bud was trying to conversation here again. You got his attention, though, right? But it worked. I'm sorry, I'm picking on you, Bud, but you know I love you. That's why I'm doing that. And there's Bud. You can't see but in the very middle. And this was a steep decline going down into this, which this picture doesn't do it justice. But you really had to walk around a ways from that path to get over to where they were. Just another stretch of the route. This looks like a fall picture, but that's actually springtime flowers that are just springing up. There's my shoes at one point. They were brand new when I started. They didn't end up making it all the way. Just one of the beautiful churches that we saw, ancient churches that we saw along the way. Inside that church, looking from the altar area back, very small. Some of the statues there that continue to remind us just why we went on this journey. This is the Hermitage of I don't know if that's St. Blaise, without the E, and St. Roque, whoever that is, I really don't know. Through the fine work of human hands. Dinner at El Brigade. This was the El Phoenix, but I found it in my notes. El Phoenix, wonderful place. They treated you to hot soup as soon as you got there, and then we had a meal. It was just fabulous. Leaving that town along the way. This was another one, La Fava, probably one of the hardest climbs we had. Very, very steep, very rocky. I couldn't remember all. I looked in my journal button. It said 2 hours it took us from the base of that to get up here. It was very difficult, narrow, rocky, and we made it to here just before the rain poured. Now, when we got to the top of this, Bud says, "That's it, I'm going in here," and he headed into this place. And I looked for another one that only had 6 beds. I thought that would be private, right? 6 beds, not too much snoring going on. It'd be great. I never found it. Well, I get back to the El Brigade, I'm sitting next to this lady and Bud, and I'm looking at my phone, I'm looking at her, he says, "Why did you go on and then stop and then go back and stop and go back?" My wife was stalking me. She had me on Life 360. That totally blew our chances of going down to the Mediterranean for a few days. That did it. So she knew exactly where I was. This is the church right next to that part on the same property. The Church of St. Andrew. Beautiful little church they had there.
Running up the hill. Our first real day of rain. And it's one of the highest climbs we've had. Maybe the highest. Very close to the very, very first day, but the weather is nasty. You can see those clouds. It's raining right now. Hold on, un momento.
It was a nasty day, watching those clouds from a distance coming in and just wondering if we were going to make it or not.
We've had snow, we've had rain, we've had sunshine, we've had hail, and we are in hail right now. We're actually walking in a cloud, if you can believe it. There's Budmeister up ahead, but I just had to take this little view so that you could get a sense of what is going on here. Life is good on the Camino.
And I meant that. We were in our glory. It was wonderful. However, what you didn't see is that I had a poncho on. I was all bundled up, and I was like this freezing, because we had, within an hour, we had all of those. Rain, sunshine, hail, and snow within the hour. And Bud here is walking through like this. Just trucking away. I don't know. Amazing. Hamlet of Riero. We actually got lost. It's the church there. I went in there and remembered, I don't know if you remember the one song that I sang, Most High and Glorious God, was in this church. That's what is on the side there. They had it under display. And I wish Bud would have been with me at that time, because there's the song we were singing throughout our journey. And there it was in Plainview. I was really happy about that. Beautiful Pilgrim's Prayer. I was hoping to have it blown up for you to take with you, because it's beautiful and it says everything. We're moving, continuing along the way of the Camino. Just some more beautiful scenery as we go. As you can see, we're back in the mountain area again. Even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like these. Those are the kind of little monuments you would see along the way, and they would be marked. See, that one's 100,000 kilometers. That's equivalent to about 60 miles. So we're getting close to the end. Just some more, a little bit. That little white dot midway through on the right-hand side is Bud. He's always ahead of me. There he is. And he was actually waving at that point in time, which is cool. These were some of my, I'm sorry, I've been in front of you the whole time. Jeepers. Some of the most beautiful scenery I thought throughout. Just loved it, and that's what I always envisioned.
So this is a little detour we made. We're all talking on our videos here, but we're the only few up here. And there's Daryl and Jane, Buzz in the distance again, and a new friend over here, Tara from the Netherlands, who speaks great English, better than I do. And this was a detour. This old Roman ruins was 4th century BC. So I just showed some from on top, the outer wall, and down in some of these ruins from 4th century BC. And I just look at the way these rocks that are in place here, people that lived here over 2,000 years ago, like even in Israel, just amazing here. You know, what was their life like? Just wonder how many artifacts even are buried right here underneath the old Roman sword or the clay figure or something of a child's toy or something like that. Left and wide open, just here. Oh, incredible. And to be able to be here. So wonderful. It's been a pretty incredible experience all the way around. I don't know what to say. I wonder, Lord, what are you trying to teach me? What are you saying to me? All this. People were like I am right now. They had their daily concerns or worries, their frustrations, their joys, their sorrows, and they're long gone. Long gone, as we all will be one day. And not to sound morbid or anything like that, but just how we are but a moment in time, and to relish the time we've been given. See it as a sacred moment, and do the best we can with the time that we have. I think that's one of the things he's trying to share with me, to be in the now, in the present, not to worry about what's past, to learn from what's past, but not to worry about the future, to trust God's divine providence, and try
ask me to move forward. Pray for continued awareness of His speaking to us, to me, to each of us, all of His children, daily in their lives, because there's so much He has to reveal to us. Your ancient drawing, painting, was preserved just on the side of the wall in the church. You would read things on the side that would tell you the days and or the years that it was taken. I just took this because this was an interesting little place to find refuge. And those are all beer bottles all along there. So every place is somewhat unique, and that was the only one we saw like that. This is one of the famous Spanish Komodo dragons that you see. Actually, it's a chameleon, I believe. One of the wildlife that we saw while walking. This is what I wanted to do with my shoes, but when I got home, they never made it home. I thought that was cool. There are my shoes, that's why they never made it home. I kind of walked through them, but that's the way it is. We finally arrived in Santiago. It was bittersweet. You're happy to have made it, but you don't want to see it come to an end. That is the Cathedral of St James, where St James body is interred at this point in time. This is part of the St. Mary's Chapel, which is housed within the cathedral. Just the cathedral at night. This was one night I just walked outside. They were having a music convention there and a doctor's convention. And I went out and there was a commotion going on and
we are about to enter what could be, we don't know, one of our final tunnels here in Santiago. You can see all the graffiti on the wall, and we want this to be a special time.
Bud was considering joining the monks, but I talked him out of it because he has a beautiful wife at home, so we couldn't do that.
Silence and darkness.
This is really the wrap up.
Lord, I place my trust in you. I await your word so pure, so true. Help me die unto myself, giving all with all your help, giving all with all your help. Lord, I place my trust in you. Lord, I place my trust in you. I await your word so pure, so true. Help me die unto myself, giving all with all your help, giving all with all your help. Lord, I place my trust in you.
That was really our prayer throughout the series. Thank you for saying that and so many others. I'm just going to show you one more. It's just, we ended our walking Camino here. We went on to Finisterre, which means the end of the world, the end of the earth. At that time, back in the Middle Ages and such, we had to take a bus because we've never had time to walk it and walk back. But we did make it to the very last marker, and that's us. And it's 0 kilometers to go. We made it. God is so good. So, thank you. Before we actually do shut it down, I did want to. I know we're running over, but am I in trouble?
No.
But I just thought maybe if anybody had any questions or anything about anything. Yes. Yes, I'm sorry, I skipped over that. I had a whole thing of what to say. The Camino of St. James, St. James, it said that after the resurrection, the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus, that St. James the Apostle, go forth to all nations, baptizing them in the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. went to Spain. And when he got to Spain, he encountered some difficulties in evangelizing the people and such over there, but he said he loved the country. He went back to Jerusalem, and he was beheaded in Jerusalem. But some of his followers collected his body, and they sent it up into Spain. And it was buried in a certain point in Spain, and then 800 years approximately passed, and it was kind of lost to the ages until a farmer was in the field one day, and they call it the Compostela, the field of the stars. He saw all these stars, and they think of the Star of Bethlehem, right? That's what I think of. Directing him to this place, and when he did, he came upon the remains of what they believe is St. James the Apostle. So they removed the bones, and they took him back to Santiago, and from that point on, this Camino de Santiago became a pilgrimage site. So for over 1,200 years now, it's been a popular site, and it is growing tremendously now. In the last 10 years, it's doubled in size. So there's a thirst. You know, people are thirsting for something. Many of them don't even know what it is. They're thirsting for something, and they'll continue to look until they find it, or he finds them, right? But for over 1,200 years. Prior to that, I found out, too, that people would go and journey to that point anyway, because at that time, Spain was the end of the world of Europe, right? That's as far as you could go. Ask Christopher, he'll tell you, right? That's Columbus, little joke. End of the earth there. So they've been making that journey beforehand, but after the Camino, the thirst within the people in the sense of pilgrimage and journey began. And your Camino begins wherever you happen to be. We met a guy on the second day that was doing the Camino for 32 days already, right? And it was his first day of rest, 32 days. He already walked from Belgium or something across France, you name it, I don't know. He walked the whole way, and this was his first day. He took a day off, and then he was going to Santiago, his hope. But your Camino begins wherever you set out from. There's 12 traditional routes of the Camino in Spain. We did the Camino Francais, the French Camino, which begins for the most part where we did in St. John Pied de Port. But there's 2 Portuguese, the coastline. Another one, there's a more northern one, which follows the northern coast, which is more up and down, I guess, and less conveniences, maybe, or not as many as that. But the Camino today, and you can check this out, is the 3rd largest pilgrimage site now in the world, next to Jerusalem, the Holy Land, and Rome. And it's growing all the time. People from all over the world, and we met people from all over the world, and we both have text and call them, and when we got back, I struggled for a while, but had his own struggles as well. Somebody from the States sent me a text and said, I can't believe how difficult it is being home, how I'm struggling with this, because all we had was right here. And one thing you discover along the way is how little we really need. How little we need. And there's a freedom there. There's a freedom, and I know that's something that I was longing for. That sense of freedom and just being present and being in the present. I'm back now, 5 months already. I can't believe it. And you find yourself getting sucked right into the worldly ways again, But I'll tell you honestly, there's not a day that has gone by that I haven't thought about the Camino. And I hope to go back. Maybe not to do this one. I was thinking the Portuguese or the northern one, but I'd love to go back again. And it's the people you meet. And that none that said on a video that I heard, I believe the Camino is like the way God intended it to be. And I took that for my own because I thought, yes. One comment, why can't we do the same thing here at home? Why don't we just love each other, take care of each other? Oh, you're hurt? Let me help you up. Things aren't going so bad. I'll listen. What can I do for you? We get so caught up in so many things, and it's hard for us to just be still and listen. That's what I hope to find. That's what I found, but not in its fullness. It won't be found in its fullness till I can completely live it in its fullness. And I'm working on that. But if any of you are even thinking of making the Camino, don't wait. Right? Kevin? Just do it. Do it. The true Camino is letting everything go, not worrying about where you're going or what you're going to do when you get there. It's about living in that moment And that's a struggle because you want to get to the next place and have a place to stay. You know, it's hard to resist that. But that's kind of the journey, you know, and it ties in so well with the journey of life because we're constantly holding on to things that we need to let go of. And we let go, and then we find ourselves reaching and bringing them back into our lives, even though we don't want them at times, right? You know what I'm talking about with that. Camino taught us and is continuing to teach us how to let go and how to trust God. That's what it all comes down to. St. John Baptist de la Salle, right, Greg? Live Jesus in our hearts forever. Let us remember we're in the holy presence of God. I've talked too much. I think that's a cue.
No. I was going to ask you what the best time of the year, weather-wise, would be to go, but I don't know if you covered that.
I didn't. We went in May. I was looking to do it the previous September. I've heard, at least if you do the French Camino, avoid summer. It's the most popular. It is filled with more people then. It is very hot going over the Masada, which is a desert, like not our kind of desert, you would think, desert-like, and it can be very hot, 100, 105 degrees. Right after we came home, if you remember, Europe had that heat wave, 105, 110. We just missed it. Thank God for that. We'd be shriveling up on the side of the road somewhere. But my thought, if I were to go back again, it would be again May, June, September, October. That would be me.
And the only other comment I have is, right when I was ordained a priest, I had the privilege to journey to World Youth Day in Spain, and we went to Santiago de Compostela. And I don't, maybe you can comment to this, but I thought it ended right there. There was this gigantic star where people were bending down to kiss as a symbolic gesture of them concluding the Camino. Do I have that wrong?
And they burn their robe.
Oh, you didn't do that one.
Well, we didn't do that.
Okay. You
burn your robe.
You burn your robe right there for multiple reasons. Right.
I mean, back in the day.
Yeah.
It does remind me, when you get to Santiago, though, there used to be in the movie, too, it shows that people would lay their hands on this column where St. James did. And they don't let you do that anymore because the prints of the hands over the hundreds of years actually worked into the stone. They don't allow you to do that anymore. But they have a great big incenser, which some of you've seen.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Right? Huge incenser. Takes 7 monks or people to pull on it and swings across the whole church.
I mean, the thing is smoking the whole place out. And go home and Google it, and you can see this gigantic furnace of incense going from one terrace to, or whatever.
One of the naves across one nave to the other. And, you know, we tend to think, right, my prayers rise like incense, mine like an evening offering. I'm forgetting it, psalm, right? You know, we send up our incense, and we send up our prayers to God, right? Well, and that's true. I mean, that's what we consider. That's the symbol of all of this. But in that day, too, there was more to it than that. Pilgrims would come in here, and they'd fill the church up. There were as many pilgrims going in the Middle Ages as there are right now. They said that's hard to believe, but it's true. And there would be a terrible odor in there, and that incense would actually like fumigate the church. So it served 2 purposes. Maybe your prayer was take the smell away, but either way, when we got there, we were in our route, and just before we left, what I discovered, they were working on the outside of Santiago for a good year, and everything was scaffolding. So I hope they finish before we're there. It looks so beautiful, which it did. Little did we know, they went inside, and they didn't have the Pilgrim's Mass there anymore. You didn't make it either. So we got to go in the church, but there were scaffolds in the church and everything, and it wasn't the same, so we never got to experience that. Another reason why I have to go back to experience that moment, because that is closure for the pilgrims that come there. Closure that they've made that experience. Wonderful. Any other questions before comments?
Hey, Bill, one question.
Anybody else? That's my brother-in-law over there.
One question. Why didn't you have walkie-talkies for you two? He's always 2 miles ahead of you.
Well, we had our phones.
Well, no, they don't work.
But it's funny because we always, when we saw he was getting a call for me, he wouldn't answer. And I wouldn't answer with him, so there it goes. No, it was a wonderful experience, wasn't it, Bud? Bud, would you like to say one word? No.
I couldn't get it in one word.
You couldn't get in one.
We have another question.
Yes? We always carry 2 bottles in our backpack right here. And, you know, throughout the way, you would come across places, and some that one video showed, like, I made a comment on my poles being there. It was a place where you could get water. And the water in the mountains especially was better than the drinking water in the cities. Very good. And if it was not potable water, if you couldn't drink it, they would have it marked such for you. So there's some places where we get nothing was marked, and you kind of hesitate. So whenever you could, especially in certain areas, and we had a guidebook that kind of told us what to look for, we'd know when to stock up. The one area we crossed in the Meseta is on a Roman road that's over 2,000 years old. Over 2,000 years old. And they described it's the desert area, but in the winter it floods from all the rain and the waters and everything from the mountains. And the Romans built this road as they traveled with their army. It's the longest existing road in Spain. And they said it was 6 or 7 levels of strata of stone that they made. And they had to lay it down, big ones, up. And they built it up to just cover the water line so that they could walk through. And that road's still there today. Most of it is covered now with gravel and stuff, but some points where we didn't do that, but you could see where it's pushed away, it's still there. So pretty amazing, when you're walking it, when you're walking the entire Camino, if you're thinking along this line, you think of the people that walked that same journey before you. Incredible people. St. Francis of Assisi walked that journey, at least a portion of it. But the kings and the queens and the saints and the sinners, we're walking in history, and now we're a part of that history. That can't be taken away from you. And it's wonderful. It's wonderful. And if your heart is open at all, it will stir your heart of flame. And where the journey will lead next, only God knows. But I know my journey's not over by any means. Any other questions, comments? Oh yes, the seashell. Thank you. This was actually a gift from a friend of ours. The seashell is one of the symbols that really marks the pilgrim. It's one of the major symbols, and you'll see people as they walk along. They usually have it on their backpack like this, or hung somewhere, that they are in fact a pilgrim. As I said, Bud and I carried everything. You can make a lesser, I shouldn't say lesser, you can make a lighter Camino. You can take a backpack, and most of the places will have a place when you arrive at Camino, at El Brigade, if you want to have this stuff sent ahead to the next town, and people do that. People that we met hurt themselves. Denise from Brazil couldn't walk as well. She had her stuff sent 1 day or 2 days ahead, so it would take some weight off. It's a lot of weight, 20 pounds is pretty heavy. But after a while, you don't even notice it. It becomes part of your body. Really, I notice it now because it hasn't been on my body too much lately.
Deacon Bill, how much weight were you able to lose?
Yeah,
Is that a personal question?
Well, take a look. Because 10 of the 20 I lost was right back where it started. But it was great, and physically, I haven't felt this good. Well, again, I got to go back. Walking and eating, you only ate what you got, right? That's it. Here it is. You're always eating along the road, little snacks, but you're burning, 5,000 calories a day, and eat maybe 2, because when you eat, you ate, this guy, oh my God, he's got a wooden leg, just keep storing it up there. But I lost 20 and I'm watching the pounds go back up, so I've got a halt before Thanksgiving, I'll be eat doo-doo here.
Thanks, Deacon Bill.
Thank you.
That was awesome. Just a reminder, or if you have joined us tonight as a visitor, Our Lady of Pompeii has several spiritual programs, both evening and daytime, with Deacon Greg and Sister Joyce. And please, if you're interested in any of them, you're always welcome at our parish. Thank you, Sister Joyce, for all your efforts in coordinating this year-long Faith Enrichment series. And we hope you will join us for our next Faith Enrichment presentation on December 16th, which obviously is a Monday, obviously because every Monday, or all these are on Mondays, as we welcome back Monsignor Fred Lysing for our Advent presentation entitled Creation. Who is God? Who are you? And on December 7th, we will have our tree lighting following the 4:30 Mass, which is a Saturday. And please join us if you're able to. One thing I always like to highlight too, invite a friend. It's always good to invite someone, and especially if they're in need of perhaps a faith experience. Thanks for attending this evening, and there's some light refreshments for you all to enjoy, and if you're able or so inclined, we do have a Goodwill offering basket at the exit as well if you're able to contribute. If not, that's all good, no problem. Thanks again, and have a good rest of your evening. Safe travels. Please know again, if you're ever in need of a parish family to join, you're always welcome to pray with us here at Our Lady of Pompeii. Thanks for coming.